In the summer of 1937, a man stands at the entrance of a grocery store in Oklahoma City, watching customers pass by a peculiar sight. A metal frame on four small wheels, holding two wire baskets stacked atop each other, awaits its moment. He has spent months crafting this invention, convinced it will revolutionize shopping. Yet his customers scoff. Men find it insulting. Women say it resembles a baby carriage. One woman, locking eyes with him, declares she has pushed her last baby. Little does he know, this so-called ridiculous contraption will soon be a staple in supermarkets across America, and he will become a multi-millionaire. Today, shopping carts are ubiquitous, often taken for granted. How does an object go from mockery to invisibility? The answer lies in a wooden folding chair, a deceptive newspaper ad, and a small army of actors maneuvering empty carts through grocery aisles. This is the tale of how an overlooked inventor tricked an entire nation into embracing the shopping cart. But it begins not with baskets on wheels, but with a larger issue that retail had yet to solve. To grasp what the man by the door aimed to fix, one must imagine the shopping experience of Americans during that era. Historically, grocery stores operated differently. Customers approached a counter, handed over a list, and waited as a clerk fetched their items. There were no shelves to browse, no questions to ponder. It was a slow, personal transaction, entirely dominant. In the early 20th century, a handful of daring grocers introduced a radical concept: self-service. Customers could now roam the aisles, selecting products without the intervention of a clerk. It was a bold move, one that would prove to be extraordinarily profitable. Sylvan Goldman recognized the potential of self-service better than most, having thrived in the growth. Born in 1898 in Ardmore, Oklahoma, when it was still Indian territory, Goldman learned the trade from the ground up. He served in World War I, supplying food to army troops in France. Upon returning home, he and his brother launched numerous grocery stores across Oklahoma. By the early 1920s, they operated more than 20 successful stores, eventually selling their venture. In 1934, Goldman acquired a struggling chain named Humpty Dumpty and revitalized it. Our story unfolds in an era marked by the Great Depression. Dusty streets mirrored the relentless struggles of families uprooted by the Dust Bowl. Yet amidst this economic turmoil, the modern supermarket was quietly coming into it. New roads and affordable cars enabled shoppers to travel further. Improved refrigeration allowed stores to stock more food, ensuring families could keep their purchases fresh. Even as the present deteriorated, the future began to materialize. Goldman observed his customers closely, noticing a telling pattern. He watched as shoppers maneuvered through the aisles with handheld wire baskets. Each basket grew heavier, and when it became too burdensome to carry, they would abandon their quest, heading straight for the register. Not because they had finished shopping, but because their arms could. Goldman realized the implications of this observation. Each customer had a natural limit, dictated not by finances or desire, but by the weight they could carry. If he could somehow eliminate this limitation, every person who entered his store might purchase more. The issue wasn't a lack of demand, it was a matter of carrying. One night in 1936, as he pondered this dilemma, his gaze fell upon a wooden folding chair against the wall, and inspiration struck. The size of the chair's seat resembled a shopping basket, and its legs could support wheels. By transforming the chair into a rolling basket, he envisioned a cart that customers could simply push, freeing them from the burden. He enlisted the help of an employee, Fred Young, a mechanic. Together, they modified a folding chair, adding wire baskets and wheels. The front wheels could swivel, allowing the cart to navigate narrow aisles. Once finished, the cart folded flat, just like the chair it originated from. The early prototype, however, was far from perfect. It often folded unexpectedly during use, and taking corners too quickly could cause it to tip over. It wasn't the polished invention Goldman had envisioned, but he recognized the potential. He filed for a patent on his basket and carriage in the spring of 1937. Goldman, a savvy marketer, orchestrated a grand launch. On June 4, 1937, he placed an advertisement in the Oklahoma City newspaper, enticing readers with the promise of a new shopping experience. He invited them to imagine gliding through a spacious market, free from the burden of heavy baskets. Yet when customers entered his store, reality struck. They avoided the carts, prompting confusion for Goldman. The reasons behind their rejection revealed the stark cultural attitudes of the time. Men dismissed the carts as an affront to their masculinity, unwilling to push what they perceived. Women reacted for different reasons. Many had spent years pushing baby carriages and felt they had graduated from that chapter of their lives. The cart, resembling a pram, reminded them of the burdens of motherhood rather than offering newfound freedom. The shopping cart, designed to solve a real problem, became a symbol of resistance. It sat untouched near the entrance, while customers opted for the familiar struggle of balancing their groceries in their arms. By all conventional measures, the cart was a failure. However, Goldman understood something crucial about human behavior. The cart itself was functional, but what was broken was the perception surrounding it. Customers needed permission to be the first to embrace this new way of shopping. Determined to overcome the stigma, Goldman initiated a bold strategy. He published another advertisement, falsely claiming that his new shopping method had received immediate acclaim over the weekend, a claim that, to put it mildly, was untrue. The laughter and mockery that ensued had been swift, yet he was undeterred in his quest to reshape shopping. But Goldman understood that by declaring something popular, he could craft a perception that everyone else must be in the know. He was creating a bandwagon, beckoning all to join. This clever maneuver was only the beginning. His true masterstroke lay ahead. Goldman hired actors, men and women disguised as ordinary shoppers. They pushed carts filled with groceries, exuding an air of ease and normalcy. He specifically selected confident-looking men to dispel the notion that carts were only for the weak or feminine. Greeters stood at the entrance, graciously handing out carts, smiling. Imagine yourself stepping into that store. The first time you saw the cart, it seemed absurd, and you swiftly ignored it. Yet now, you notice a normal-looking man in the canned goods aisle, pushing one without a trace of embarrassment. A well-dressed woman glides past you in the produce section, her cart in tow. A friendly greeter at the entrance practically hands you a cart. Suddenly, that strange object transforms. Everyone is using it, and so you follow suit. This phenomenon, the quiet pressure of conformity, is known. In 1937, in a small Oklahoma grocery store, a man with a vision and a payroll harnessed this psychological lever. He didn't change the cart itself. He transformed the crowd surrounding it. The results were immediate. Within weeks, real customers, not actors, were pushing carts through every one of his stores. The mockery faded away. What had once drawn laughter became the standard way of shopping. Resistance crumbled like paper at the first touch of safety. As Goldman filled his stores with carts, a larger movement emerged around him, and he was perfectly positioned to capitalize on it. The self-service supermarket was no longer just a local oddity. It was evolving into the future of American retail, spreading across the nation. Each new supermarket faced the same dilemma Goldman had already resolved: shoppers with full arms who abandoned their purchases. Goldman shifted his mindset, no longer thinking as a grocery store owner, but as someone who could offer a solution to every grocery store in America. In September 1937, just months after his initial trials, he showcased his cart at the first National Convention of Supermarket Operators. He didn't merely exhibit it, he produced a promotional film, persuading store managers across the country of the necessity of this innovation. He founded a company to manufacture the carts, selling them to anyone running a market. He realized the true wealth lay not in utilizing the cart himself, but in providing it to others. The carts rapidly gained traction. Goldman's manufacturing company soared to become the largest cart maker in the country. Then, a defining moment arrived. In 1940, a version of his cart graced the cover of the Saturday Evening Post, one of America's most popular magazines. Just 3 years prior, the cart had been a punchline in his own store. Now, it stood as a symbol of a bright, modern, and convenient future in America. The man once ridiculed now basked in wealth. When asked later if the cart had made him rich, he offered a dry response. But the story expands beyond one inventor and a clever trick. The shopping cart didn't merely change how people carried their groceries. It redefined the entire retail landscape in ways felt every time someone enters a store. Consider the store itself. The old corner grocery with narrow aisles and a counter behind which a clerk worked was never designed for a rolling basket. As carts proliferated, stores had to adapt, and their shapes aisles widened to allow 2 carts to pass. Stores expanded, enabling a single customer to transport far more products to the checkout in one trip. The spacious, brightly lit supermarket, the one that springs to mind when you think of grocery shopping, exists in part because the cart made it feasible to fill it. Then there's the basket itself, which holds a cleverly deceptive. Goldman's original insight that people shop until their carrying capacity is reached became pivotal. With the cart eliminating the limit of arms, retailers learned an enduring lesson. A bigger basket leads to larger purchases. When given a small container, shoppers fill it and feel complete. Hand them a vast, half-empty cart, and instinct nudges them to keep going. Over decades, shopping carts gradually grew larger, a deliberate evolution. A roomier cart subtly suggested that there was still more to gather. This unassuming folding chair contraption became a driving force behind modern consumer culture. The notion that shopping could be a leisurely activity, a pursuit of filling a big basket with more than originally intended, owes much to a metal frame on wheels. A historian studying the cart's rise made a poignant observation. Goldman's true genius was not the invention itself. Humans have pushed carts of various kinds for millennia. His brilliance lay in timing and persuasion. He crafted the right object at the precise moment when supermarkets were expanding and cars were becoming commonplace. More crucially, he achieved the hard part, convincing a reluctant public to embrace. However, a cruel twist loomed. The man who outmarketed a nation was about to be out-engineered by an unseen rival. The same folding design that brought Goldman fortune concealed a significant flaw. Carts had to be folded and stacked whenever storage was necessary. It was cumbersome and labor-intensive. For years, no one had a better solution, so the issue went unnoticed. In 1946, Orla Watson, a man from Kansas City, devised a deceptively simple enhancement. He designed a cart with a swinging back door, a flap that opened when one cart pushed into another. This innovation allowed carts to nest neatly together, eliminating the need to fold, remove baskets. It was a minor adjustment, yet it made the modern shopping cart practical at scale. Goldman immediately recognized the brilliance of Watson's idea. However, instead of collaborating, he filed his own patent for a nesting cart over a year after Watson's original filing. Thus began a prolonged legal battle over the true ownership of this. Ultimately, despite his wealth and influence, Goldman lost. He was compelled to acknowledge Watson's invention as the original. In a final act of humiliation, he paid Watson a mere $1 in damages for his infringement. The man who had once tricked America into adopting the shopping cart, who turned a setback into success through sheer will, now handed the rights to the modern version of his invention to a quieter. Goldman retained an operating license, allowing him to continue profiting, but the design that everyone now uses, the nesting cart found in every parking lot, belonged to Orla Watson. Goldman may have won the public's favor, but Watson claimed the patent. From that point on, the cart evolved further, leaving Goldman behind. A child seat is added, transforming the shopping cart into a baby carriage, substitute that those first women had mocked. Decades roll by, and folding seat belts join the mix, securing those kids in place. The cart evolves further, acquiring cup holders, scanners, and fold-out racks for awkward boxes. It creeps from grocery stores into hardware shops, department stores, and warehouses. Somewhere along the way, it sheds its identity as a product, becoming an unremarkable fixture of modern life, as ordinary as a door handle. Sylvan Goldman lives a long life, witnessing his creation conquer the world only to fade into the background. In his later years, broadcaster Charles Kuralt interviews him, posing a fascinating question. What if Goldman had never invented the shopping cart? Goldman, the realist, doesn't reach for grand ideas. He simply shrugs. It would be exactly like it is now, he says, because somebody else would have invented it anyway. He passes away in 1984, a wealthy and respected figure in Oklahoma, yet a man whose name barely resonates beyond that state. And that is the strangest part of this story. You have pushed his invention, or at least the version that triumphed, hundreds of times. You've leaned on the handle, steered it around corners, parked it in corrals, let your child ride in the seat. It stands as one of the most touched objects in the modern world. Yet, the man who fought so hard to create it is completely forgotten, while the cart itself has become so familiar you genuinely cannot see it anymore. Remember that second advertisement, the one Goldman ran when the cart sat empty, and his big idea seemed on the brink of failure. He claimed instant approval, a bold lie in that moment. Nobody approved, people laughed at him. But decades later, that desperate little fib morphed into the truest statement about the shopping cart. Instant approval everywhere forever, by billions who never stopped to wonder why a metal